Hello, in this C++ programming video, I will be covering while loops. These loops are used to repeat a block of code as long as a specific condition is true. So what is a while loop? Well, a while loop checks a condition before every iteration. If the condition is true, it runs the code block. Once the condition is false, the loop stops. So as you can see in this syntax text file, we have the syntax for a while loop. So we're using the reserved keyword while and then a condition inside parentheses and curly braces that encompass the code block. The code inside this is going to run while the specific condition is true. This structure is useful when you do not know how many times the loop should run in advance. So let's start off with a simple counter example. We're going to write a program that counts from 1 to 5. So we're going to start at 1. So we're going to declare and initialize an index variable. We'll call it just I to make it simple. And that's going to be equal to 1. So now we want to do the while loop. So we're going to do while I is less than or equal to 5. So the, the stuff inside the parentheses is a condition that will evaluate to true or false. And then what we're going to do is we're going to print out we're going to print out I, and then we're going to increment I. So that's what double plus means. This is equal to this, but I highly recommend just using double plus. And then once that's done, we will return 0 for a successful execution of the program. So we have that saved. Now let's compile it. So g++ counter.cpp, we're going to just call it counter. And then we're going to run it. As you can see, it counts from 1 to 5. Next, let us do an example of what is called input validation. And this is something that as you get more experience in programming, you're going to want to know how to do this, and you're going to want to, use your brain to consider if what types of inaccurate information a user can enter in a program. So let's do an example of that. So we're going to validate someone's age. So obviously you cannot have an age that is less than 0. So we're going to test that. So we're going to make a variable called age, and then we're going to ask the user for your age, and then we're going to get the age. So here we're going to go while age is less than 0. If that's the case, we want to let the user know that it's invalid age. And then again, we're going to get the user input. And then once we're done with the while loop, so essentially once an age is actually valid, we're going to let the user know that they printed out a valid age. So again, this loop from 8 to 11 is going to repeat until a valid age is entered. So let's test that out. So G++ input validation dot cpp I'm just going to call it val. Enter your age. If we just enter something reasonable, it works just fine. You print out the valid age 5. But if we enter something that's not logical, i.e. a negative number, it's going to ask you to do it again. So now if we print it right, it's going to say that we entered in a valid input. And then, I mean, we could keep doing this until we finally enter something reasonable. So again, that loop is going to repeat until the user enters a non-negative age. So our third example here, we're not going to compile this, but it's useful to understand. So I'm going to copy and paste this code here, but an easy error to make would be to not increment the index. If you don't do that, it's just going to keep printing out count as 1, count as 1, count as 1 forever. And then eventually your program is going to crash. So make sure your loop variables change so the conditions eventually become false. So some common use cases, repeating actions with uncertain length, like user input, countdown or counter loops, menu systems with exit options, and reading data until the end of a file or specific input. So a practice challenge I would like you to do, write a program that asks the user to enter a password until they type a specific string of your choice. Use a while loop, show a message for incorrect attempts, and congratulate the user when they get it right. So in this episode, you learned what while loops are, how to use them for repetition, some real-world examples like counters and input checks, and how to avoid infinite loops. If you found this tutorial helpful, do not forget to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and leave a comment. In the next episode, we will explore do while loops, which are similar to while loops but guarantee at least one run. Reach out if you have any questions. Otherwise, thank you for watching and have a great day.